Welcome into Steelers Talk, Yinzers. My name is Jack Sperry. On today's show, I am going to be breaking down an ESPN 3-round mock draft collaboration between the godfather himself of draft media, Mel Kiper Jr., and ESPN draft analyst Todd McShay. Can't wait to break down this 3-round mock with you here on the show. But first, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, now is a great time to do so. We have daily Steelers draft rumors leading up to the round 1 of the 2023 NFL draft. We got prospect analysis, prospect rankings coming out. We got my big board coming out here real soon. Steelers draft targets, all this great stuff. And then, of course, next week, I'm going to be revealing my final Steelers mock draft. So if you want the best in-depth, comprehensive Steelers content here on YouTube, go ahead, click that subscribe button for me right now. And in round 1, this pick belongs to Mel Kiper Jr., and he took Zay Flowers, wide receiver out of Boston College, with the 17th overall pick. Now, I will say that this mock came out before the Allen Robinson trade. That's what I will say. But this is what Mel Kiper Jr. had to say about the pick. What a landing spot for one of my favorite prospects in this class. Flowers can play inside or outside, and he can make defenders miss after the catch. The Steelers can fill their need at cornerback in round 2. Now, Zay Flowers is a fine player, guys. I think that when it's all said and done, he could be the number 1 receiver on my big board this year. At 5'10", 172 pounds, I compare him to Antonio Brown, Stephon Diggs. He's a great route runner. He's great after the catch. He's got good hands, man. He does have some drop issues. He's got good body control is what I should say. Does have some concentration drops from time to time. Let's take a look at what his numbers looked like last year with the Boston College Golden Eagles there. He had 78 receptions, over 1,000 yards, 13.8 yards per catch, 12 touchdowns. This guy, when I see him on film, man, this guy just looks like he's gliding. He looks like he's on ice skates, and everybody else is trying to catch up. This guy is a very smooth athlete. He's great after the catch, like Mel said. I think he's a great talent. I think he's a first-round guy. I think he's going to be potentially, I think he can go as high as 15 to Green Bay. I think Green Bay would be a great fit for a guy like Zay Flowers. But, especially now that the Steelers have taken Allen Robinson off the Rams' hands, I just don't think wide receiver is an option. This is why it's a dumb pick for me. Top cornerbacks, Deonte Banks and Joey Porter Jr. are still on the board during this pick. I think if Banks and Joey Porter Jr. are still on the board for you, that's one of those guys is going to be the pick. I'm not going wide receiver if Banks and Joey Porter Jr., who could be number 1 cornerbacks in the National Football League someday, are still on the board. That's just the way it works. Then you got Pittsburgh is likely looking for a bigger slot receiver. Zay Flowers more 5'10". They already have their dynamo in the slot in Calvin Austin III. They don't need somebody like a Zay Flowers that's also pretty tiny. You'd rather go and get a guy like Jonathan Mingo or Xavier Hutchinson from Iowa State. I think that they would rather have somebody like that. Now that they've traded for Allen Robinson, this completely does not happen. Mel Kiper Jr., after the Allen Robinson trade, had an update for this pick on his article, and he had to say this: the Steelers are adding Allen Robinson via trade, but he's a much different receiver than Flowers. This deal doesn't change Pittsburgh's need, and I could see it still adding Flowers here. No freaking way. So even after the Allen Robinson trade, this clown, Mel Kiper Jr., still says, I would add this guy to the receiving corps. Where are you going to put him, man? I just don't know. You already got Calvin Austin III for obvious passing situations in the slot. You got Allen Robinson to be that bigger slot guy. You got Deontay Johnson and George Pickens. There's just nowhere that it makes sense to add Zay Flowers. He's a great talent, a great player. Doesn't make sense for the Steelers in round 1. Let me know what your one-word reaction is to this pick in the comment section. For me, I would say idiotic. That'd be my one word, but let me know what you guys think. This is the pinned comment on today's show. So whenever you get an ad break here on the show, do me a favor and go down in the comment section, find that pinned comment. It'll be right there at the top, and answer today's question. So like I said, man, my one word is idiotic. I do not think that this would be a good move whatsoever for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You are pretty much set at wide receiver. If you want to spend a day 3 pick on a bigger slot receiver to take over for Robinson eventually, then fine. But in round 1 with your most important pick, I think this would be a big mistake for the black and gold. Then you go into round 2, and Mel Kiper Jr. and Todd McShay have Brian Branch falling to number 32 overall, where Todd McShay has the Steelers taking Brian Branch. And man, I think that'd be a fantastic pick if you are the black and gold, the Pittsburgh Steelers. If he falls to you here, he is one hell of a football player, man. This guy is about as good as it's going to come from when it comes to nickel cornerback play. Had 90 tackles last year, 14 tackles for lost, plays with great instincts, had 3 sacks as a blitzer, very effective blitzer branches. And he got 2 interceptions and 7 pass breakups last year with the Crimson Tide, has played in that pro-style system there with Alabama. He's going to be ready out of the package. He will be a day one starter in the National Football League. He had kind of a lackluster kind of performance at the Combine, however. Okay, like he didn't really run all that fast. He didn't have a great performance there. But I think that if he's there at number 32 and you are the Pittsburgh Steelers and you take him, you are getting one heck of a football player. I wouldn't mind taking him whatsoever there at the top of round 2. Well, Jeremy Chuggs is telling me something here in my ear. What's that, Jeremy? Oh yeah, so he's telling me about Minkah Fitzpatrick. Like if you combine him with Minkah Fitzpatrick, man, two guys that are really Swiss Army knife types of players, I think that Mike Tomlin can really use those 2 pieces. I think in year 1, Branch would probably be a nickel cornerback to replace Arthur Maulet there in the nickel, and then he would also do some work as a strong safety. You got Keanu Neal as a strong safety for now. You got Damontae Kazee to kind of run that 3 safety package. But imagine a 3 safety package with Damontae Kazee, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and Brian Branch. I think that'd be a fantastic, fantastic weapon at Mike Tomlin's disposal. Here's an image here of Brian Branch's relative athletic score from his performance in Indianapolis. Not great. He doesn't have great size for the safety position, okay? And then his composite scores in speed and explosion were just okay, right? I just don't think that he's like the mega athlete that you see with some of these guys, especially in round 1. And, you know, if you have a score this low as a safety, there's a pretty decent chance that you're going to fall to round 2, no matter how good your tape is. So I think there's a legitimate chance that Branch is there for the black and gold here. And if he is there, I think the Steelers should really, really think about it. All right, so now here's what I'm going to say, guys. We got a brand new channel from Chat Sports, I should say. It's our NFL Draft channel. And what we have on there is some really comprehensive draft content. If you're like me, you can't get enough draft content around this time of year. We have daily videos covering prospect analysis, prospect rankings, NFL mock drafts every single week. And then we also have team-specific 7-round mock drafts for pretty much every single team in the league. So that's your sort of thing. You want to get daily NFL draft content here leading up to Kansas City. Go to youtube.com/chatNFL and click that subscribe button now. Then in round 3, I believe Mel Kiper is back on the clock here. And never mind, it's round 2. Second pick in round 2. Anton Harrison, offensive tackle from the Oklahoma Sooners. Now, for me personally, guys, Anton Harrison is a good player. I think that he's probably a first-round guy. I doubt he makes it here to number 49, if I'm being completely honest with you. He's a really good pass protector. He plays with really good balance. You know, he plays with really good hand placement as well. He's not much of a mauler, which is why I don't think that the Steelers are going to have him on their radar. I think they want more of a mauler because right now, you know, if you want somebody that's pretty good as a pass protector, you know, you can stick with Dan Moore Jr., you know, but if you want somebody that's a mauler in the run game, you want somebody that can flat out pancake somebody, I would go with like a Broderick Jones or a Paris Johnson Jr. in the first round, as opposed to getting someone like Anton Harrison, who doesn't play with great pad level, doesn't play with great power. He's not a great run blocker in general. I think because of his pass rushing or pass blocking upside, he's going to be a first-round pick for a team that is really pass-heavy, runs mostly zone, like inside zone, outside zone, that sort of stuff. He's pretty athletic. But, you know, when it comes to the Steelers scheme, I'm not sure if he's a fit, and I'm not sure he's going to be on the Steelers' radar. You know, like I said, I don't think he's a good fit. That's just how I feel about it, guys. Dan Moore Jr., I think if you want to stick with Dan Moore Jr., then fine. Don't go get a guy like Anton Harrison. You have limited amount of picks in this year's NFL draft. If you're going to draft somebody at offensive tackle, it has to be a clear upgrade over Dan Moore Jr. With Anton Harrison, I'm not sure that's the case. So do the Steelers need to draft an offensive tackle in this year's NFL draft? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Personally, the way I feel about this, guys, is that if you can't get one of those top guys that's going to be a clear upgrade over Dan Moore Jr., address some of those other needs and fill those out as the draft moves on. Then you got round 3 here, 4th pick. Daiyan Henley, inside linebacker from Washington State, number 80th overall, really good player. And this one was Todd McShay here, who made this pick for the Steelers. And this is what he had to say about it. After Devin Bush didn't work out in Pittsburgh, the Steelers signed Cole Holcomb in March. But the linebacker depth isn't great, and Henley has the burst to make plays. Now, I really think that Daiyan Henley is going to be a steal in round 3 for the Steelers if he makes it that far. He's a little bit older, which is why and he's new to the position, which is why he might fall a little bit. But on tape, man, this guy is a fantastic prospect. One of the best pass protectors, or one of the best in pass coverage, I should say, in this year's NFL draft class. He's 6'2", 232 pounds, man. This guy runs like a deer. You know, he definitely has some progress that he still needs to make in terms of his run defense. But as a pass protector, or as a pass coverage player, I should say, he's somebody that is a former receiver. He's worked with quarterbacks before in his life. He understands that lingo, that language. This guy can get a lot of interceptions in the NFL, in my opinion. This guy's going to be a really, really good player. If you can get him in round 3, it is a great fit. For me, he is number 3 on my list. Drew Sanders has recently overcome Jack Campbell as my number 1 guy on my big board. I think Drew Sanders is a fantastic physical prospect. Jack Campbell a little bit more ready to go day 1. But Daiyan Henley, he's a little bit older. He's new to the position, but I think that he can make a real impact. You're taking a little bit of a risk that he might be a little raw right away, but I think down the line he can become one of the best inside linebackers in the game of football, guys. I really do appreciate you. Make sure that so I'm going to recap this here. You got Zay Flowers in round 1, wide receiver from Boston College. You got Brian Branch, defensive back out of Alabama, in round 2. Again in round 2, you got Anton Harrison at number 49. Then you got Daiyan Henley, inside linebacker, at number 80. So do me a favor right now and grade this mock draft from ESPN. Give me an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F. Let me know what you guys think. Personally, guys, I'm not in love with this pick whatsoever, and my grade that I'm going to give, man, I'm going to give it a C+. I don't think it's a great move to go get Anton Harrison in the second round. I don't think he's a fit. I think, it's a good value at number 49. I think he's going to go a lot higher than that. But, the fit's just not great. I really don't like taking Zay Flowers in round 1. I think that's an imbecilic move, something that's just not going to happen whatsoever, especially after that trade. And Mel Kiper doubling down on that after the fact is just what the heck, man. How do you not take a cornerback? Seriously, you go for the first 4 picks of the draft. One of the biggest needs for the Steelers is cornerback. Mel Kiper says it in his write-up of round 1, and you don't take a cornerback for the rest of the mock. Like, what are we doing here? The Steelers need to address that with Patrick Peterson getting older, Ahkello Witherspoon and Levi Wallace being kind of meh. You need somebody that can step in and be an impact for you. And right now, Mel Kiper Jr. and Todd McShay apparently think the Steelers don't need to take a corner, which is just absolutely ridiculous. I think they're going to, at least at the very latest, the Steelers are going to take a cornerback by the end of round 2. Like, that's the very, very latest with pick number 49. All right, so that's going to be it for today's show, guys. I appreciate everybody that watches these videos. If you want to watch more of these videos and you want notifications on when they come out, click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you always know when we put out new Steelers videos.